Hey everyone. Today I'm going to review the book Duma Key by Stephen King. This is a book that takes, at the beginning it takes place in Minnesota, but the most of the time it takes place in Florida. The main character is named Edgar Freemantle, and at the beginning of the book, he's like at the head of a construction company, and he's on a job site and he sustains a major accident where I think a payloader or a construction vehicle slams on his truck with him inside. So it was a miracle that he survived the accident at all. But one of the things that happened was that he got his right arm cut off. My right arm, there it is. Excuse me. And so, of course, that is a really big deal and a really kind of shocking thing. And so because of that, he is unable to work, and that puts a strain on his marriage. He's been married to his wife Pam for about 20 to 25 years, and just because he doesn't know how to do anything else other than work, he thinks, and so he's just kind of become a nuisance to his wife and just kind of hangs around, and he is in bouts of depression and things like that. So one of the things that he does is he does go to a psychiatrist by the name of Dr. Kamen, and Kamen is saying, well, don't think of this as, it's a horrible thing, but don't think of this as the end of the world. There are many people that come across from accidents like yours and do great things with their lives. And Kamen asked Edgar, what is something that you've always loved to do? And Edgar was like, well, the only thing that I really like to do that I know of is draw. And so Kamen was like, well, you can start to draw, or you can start to, take this up as a hobby and see what you do with it. Excuse me. And along with kind of the disillusion of his marriage, Edgar moves from St. Paul, Minnesota, where he lived, down to Sarasota, Florida, or a kind of a Florida Key, if you will, or an island just off of Sarasota called Duma Key. And so he lives there all alone and on the coast. And so he likes it down there, and he starts to paint or draw or do artsy things. And he finds that he enjoys it. And sometimes he does have two daughters from his marriage. One is named Ilsa, and Ilsa is the one that comes and visits Edgar when he's down there. And Edgar and Elsa really never explored Duma Key when Edgar moved, and so they were like, hey, let's just go for a drive down the street. And they drive down the road, and they come across a neighbor of theirs that's her name is Elizabeth Eastlake, and she does have a caretaker, and Elizabeth is just really, really old, so she's taken aback, or I'm sorry, Edgar and Ilsa is taken aback by her just because of how old and how wrinkly she is, but she's still living, and even though she has Alzheimer's disease, her caretaker is again takes care of her and says, oh yeah, she's usually sharp as a tack, she just has this one thing where she forgets things. So anyway, so Edgar starts to draw, like I said again, and what he notices is that there are times where he gets a sensation in his arm, like in his right arm, the arm that's missing, where he feels like it's part of him. And when that happens, and when Edgar starts to draw, he kind of goes into a trance, and when he gets out of it, he notices that he's drawn something that's brilliant, or he's drawn something that's along with brilliant, it's kind of resembles people that he knows. And one of the things is he draws a lot of Ilsa a lot, and because Ilsa has just visited him, and before Ilsa had visited him, she was telling him that she fell in love with a boy and that she has gotten engaged. And before Edgar even met this boy, he had a vision in his head about what this boy looked like, and so he drew it. And he didn't show Ilsa, but when Ilsa had visited, he had taken a picture of her fiance and had compared it to his drawing, and it was remarkable. It was basically a mirror image of what this boy looked like. So that's kind of the premise of the book, kind of is where, I mean, obviously it's a Stephen King book, so bad things happen kind of when he gets premonitions and he draws these pictures. They're not always good, and he gets kind of bad feelings about things that happen in his pictures. Going back to the example of Ilsa's fiance, he knew that he wasn't really a nice person and knew that, he wasn't going to be good for his daughter. And it turned out that this boy was cheating on Ilsa with another student. So he was right in that matter where, he wasn't right for her because he was cheating. So anyway, that's kind of the book. I liked it and I didn't like it. It wasn't my most favorite Stephen King books. And I know that I've left a lot out, but again, I want you to read this book, and I don't really want to give you any spoilers, other than what I did. The next book I'm going to read by Stephen King is a collection of short stories that's called Just After Sunset. So that's it, and I bid you all farewell, and happy reading.